Howdy ho, Lions fans. Welcome to the Detroit Lions podcast, episode 475. This is the Detroit Lions off-season workouts are underway. This is the official Detroit Lions podcast for that Reddit place. I am your dashing host, Chris, and with me is my good friend, well-coiffed and just surpassingly gorgeous co-host, Michael Gray. How are you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm going to have to shave my head just to mess with you guys. Riston's all about the hair, man. He's taking it personally, I think.
I'm telling you, bro, our female demo is through the roof ever since you got here. Don't touch that hair, babe.
I promise you that's got nothing to do with me.
All right, we got a lot to cover today. First impressions, the Lions rookies. Rookie mini camp is gone. It's past. We'll talk about what we saw there, what we heard. Talk a little bit about the seatbelt gang mentality taking over on the defense, where the Lions are in their rebuild process. A couple of silly trade rumors. A little bit of shout out and props to the Lions social media team, and something that is a working title called Perceived versus Relative Value. Mike furrowed his eyebrows when I kind of gave him a high level shot. We'll take a talk about this today because this is something it sort of came to me today.
Was perception versus reality taken? Why do you have to go so meta?
I don't know. I literally noted it down in the middle of a meeting at work, and then I was like, oh yeah, I got to come back to that, and then effectively the show started. So that's what we're working with. All right, we got all that, a whole lot more. We got a great show lined up. Mr. Gray, are you ready to go, my friend?
I am.
Let's kick this off and break it down.
All right.
I don't know Wisdom's lines. I don't have those memorized.
Don't worry. They're your lines today, my friend. I wish I had Dan Orlovsky handy. We used to have one where we talked about Guam because we had a listener, Dylan from Guam, and there was this scream that the original co-host Case did, and it would be Dylan from, and he'd go Guam really loud. So Orlovsky comes on, he co-hosts a show with us, and he embraced the snot. I mean, he screamed the top of his lungs. He probably woke his neighbors that as loud and long as he screamed Guam. It's hilarious. Only Orlovsky. Oh, my goodness. All right, let's get into this. Couple of quick things. First and foremost, I want to thank Michael for coming in and filling in for Jeff, who's out this week. He's got his parents are in the hospital. We got HIPAA regulations, so we're not going to reveal, but we just want to give our very, very best to Jeff's parents. I know, maybe with him there, you're not in the best hands. There's probably better hands you could be in, but he's a good guy to have around. We love the kid, and we hope you all get better and get to feeling all back to normal again. So there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Thoughts with everybody there in the Risden clan.
Yeah, for sure. Also, training camp party, because we need them there. Training camp party's teed up August 5th, the Uptown Grill in Commerce Township. Tickets will go on sale this weekend. And just so you know, the tickets here are to cover the food. There's dinner, special guests. We're working on that. It'll be just as big as last year, if not bigger. Every year it gets bigger. But the tickets there just to cover costs. So it's not like this is a big money. This is our training camp fan appreciation party. We all get together, have a great time. You can drink, you can have soda, you can eat, have a good time. We'll do a live show there. And then after the show's over, we'll pack everything up and we just hang out. We hang out till closing time with anyone who wants to. I mean, last time I think we closed with like 20 people last year, but you can stay as late as you want, drinking, hanging, having a good time, talking football, talking whatever you want. It's a really, really good time. Uptown Grill, Commerce Township, August 5th. Tickets on sale this weekend, so get yours before they sell out. I think I did all the time and temperature stuff, as Mr. DJ Man should, Michael.
After Jerry Hodak.
Wow. I prefer Sonny Elliott, executively, but we can go with Jerry Hodak.
I understand.
Well, let's get into it. First impressions of the Detroit Lions rookies. We got to get a good look at the rookies, and I'll tell folks just watching and listening now, Thursday, as we record this, which is tomorrow, we'll have an interview with Broderick Martin. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, we're gonna talk to Broderick up close and personal and do some chats with him. But we've seen a lot of stuff so far about the rookies with the rookie camp ending. They're getting into that whole workout mode ahead of OTAs as those start to get ready to kick off. And I wanted to start and kind of, Michael, get your impression of the Lions rookies thus far. What have we learned about these young men?
Well, I mean, I think there's a couple of things. One, the educational piece about Detroit, the city, the franchise, the state of the team is obviously a priority to everybody because all of these guys came in with their talking points memorized about the build, about turning the franchise around, about the role that they would play in building a foundation for something special. And that doesn't happen everywhere. A lot of times you get a job, you get drafted by a team, you go play for that team, you put on the helmet and you go out and play. These guys they're being included like everyone else at the cultural level, and all their thoughts reflected that. The other thing is they're all dealing with a draft media that's still not made friends with Detroit's decisions on draft night. Detroit went running back, linebacker, tight end, and that's a different level of the multiverse that no one knew they were living in. And so those guys had to answer those questions. And I know I did a video earlier this week where I kind of went off on a tangent. I spent too many years in locker rooms and too many years in media scrums, sometimes holding the mic and sometimes just kind of leaning in. And you see those questions that they can't answer. They can't answer that. You're asking them something that's impossible. You're asking Jahmyr Gibbs for an analysis of his new tight end who's been on the field exactly once. What the hell does he know about breaking down tight ends? He's a running back. Like, it's just one of those, like, he had to just sit there and blink and go, he's a teammate. Looks good, I guess. I didn't watch Iowa football because I don't hate myself. Like, come on. You got to at least give them something where there's a chance they can give you an answer.
Yeah, and it's not softball questions, right? It's not asking for softball questions. Get the real story. But can you explain the theory of relativity in detail? Is just as valid a question because they have no option, no chance to actually provide a valuable answer.
Unless I be disingenuous. Like, this is how easy it is. 3 people asked about the connection between Laporta and Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
3 people asked Laporta, and they came in, and the next 2, each of the next 2 were like, "Sorry if you've been asked this before." Like, yeah, ding dong. Of course he's been asked that before. It's the lowest of the low hanging fruit. It fell off the tree. It's on you stepped on it. That's how low. Well, rather than ask the dumb question, "Hey, do you like having a teammate in the locker room?" How does it help you to have a teammate in the locker room? Let's just assume, for the sake of argument and everybody with 2 functioning frontal lobes, that we know it's better to have someone familiar in the locker room. Let's go that far. Make that, curb-sized leap, and then just ask him, how's it help you? One follow-up was good, like, will you be roommates in Detroit? And he was like, nah, I don't think we'll live together.
Yeah, right. But it was like the first question. That's where you should have started with the first question. Like, know something about him, right? Know, you said it. You put that in the video. It was great. Yeah. Know something about the people you're asking questions, and the idea that the one person knew that they had been roommates. Congrats, and I should probably go back so I can give them personal credit. But the rest, it's like, what's it like playing with somebody? Like, how about what's it like playing with your roommate? That's a better question. I mean, it's the same, but it's at least better, 100%. Right? It's like, a little bit, right?
Yeah. You've done some work, and like I said, it's as simple as the phrasing. You can just tell people show up and they haven't thought about this, and especially with the rookies, and these are grown men. I'm not for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I just, as a fan, you rely on credentialed media for your access. You're and I think that's where I'm off on a tangent now, but I think that's where the credentialed media lets the fans down so many times, because they go in there and they've elevated themselves. They're annoyed by the fans. You can go on to any number of podcasts and see journos bitching about, oh, so-and-so on Twitter blew me up because of this. Well, fans have never been smarter. Like, at any time in history, fans are more educated. They're more into this stuff. They have more access to more information. You're the only conduit they have to these people personally. I don't need you to ask him about his stats. I've got that right here on my phone. I don't need it. What I need is something relatable, and I don't think they think in that frame too often.
I think there's two problems. One, and it happened in day one when this leadership team took over. They had no idea. They don't understand what they're made of, what they're doing, why, how they think. They've been, for however long they've been in the media, or covering blogging, whatever else for about the Lions ahead of that, they're only used to what was here before. And so often, and I think this is an important point. So often there's so little life experience amongst the journalists that they don't know what questions to ask. They have no context outside the bubble that they've been sitting in, and they can't put any of that other knowledge to use. Hey, I went to school and got a degree in journalism. Oh, that's good. I watch football. Okay, that's good. Well, how does it help you contextualize anything that these guys have experienced or saying? And it doesn't. Corey here is saying, hey, please call out Burkett for his immediate post-draft interview with Broderick Martin. Ask him to spell out the name of his deceased brother. I'll tell you, the thing about that is, and like you can poke all these guys. You could even poke Burkett a number of ways. The reason he asked about spelling out the name, though, was because he wanted to make sure he got it right in his article. Burkett can write some really amazing content. He can write some really great pieces, and he wanted to make sure and honor his brother. The problem is it wasn't the right time. That wasn't the place to go that. And then now to kind of keep going deep, it's like banging the ugly gong. Oh, it was ugly the first time you hit it. Let's stop hitting it. Nah, I think I'm gonna hit it again. Nah, I'm gonna no. Write that story a different time. It's just like, understand this is like the best day of this kid's life. And then you hear him tell the story in his interview afterward. Ran down 6 stairs. I've never seen my mom jump before. She jumped this high, gave me the biggest hug ever. And it's right after that, you're asking him, spell your deceased brother's name. What is that? Where, again, context for the world, right? Just context for the world and people and understanding that. That's the thing that's really the big part. So anyway, there we go. That's it. Let's talk about the rookies themselves. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, and I think there was an opportunity loss. Broderick Martin's, and that's why I'm excited you guys have got him tomorrow. Mm-hmm. He was the one. And that was why I started, the video I did earlier this week with just the joy. It's just one of those rare human kind of experiences when you see the rookies come to camp, and it's not limited to the Lions. There's 32 of these teams going through this. You've got all of these people lining up at the podium on the very first day of their dream coming true. Mm-hmm. And you just don't get that very often. You're not going to get, maybe again in the locker room on Super Bowl Sunday of the winning team. Mm-hmm. The other team's going to be in despair, but you'll get the human element, the joy, the release, all of that. But here, this is almost more pure because every team gets one of these. Every team gets a rookie class. Yeah. Every rookie gets to have their very first day. And that's where, that's why I was so irritated, because you're hearing these dumbass questions and you miss an opportunity to connect with these guys. Now, Broderick, he bridged that. His story, the way his eyes lit up, I mean, he was still there. He talked about his tears welling up when he saw his name on his locker. Yeah. And you hear that, and it just, it hits. It 10 rings. It's perfect. You understand what this gigantic guy is going through. And my daughter walked through the room when I was watching it on YouTube. I'm watching the video. She's like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "Oh, he's rookie." He's like, "Well, he looks really scary, but he's actually just a big baby." Yeah, he's a teddy bear, man. He's he's all personality, right? His personality might be bigger than his body. If it's possible. Yeah. And you've got that and Aleem now both in the middle of that line. There are not enough of those moments. Some guys aren't built for it. You're never going to get, I don't think I can say this pretty confidently. We're however many days into the season for the rookies. You're never going to get that from Jack Campbell. No, I feel pretty confident because he has that serial killer focus. Where it's him and Branch. That's another impression I walked away. They're exactly the right amount of crazy. Yeah. Like for that defense, right down the middle, linebacker, safety. I want 2 guys who have that Mike Singletary face all the time, and that's kind of how they came across. So that was, another first impression made. Just the size differential, right? Branch, Campbell, Martin. 10 times out of 10, I want to run into Martin in a dark alley than I do Campbell or Branch, man. I don't care. That guy, you can walk up and you can tell, this is going to be a good day. Those guys, those are terrifying men, man. Well, and that's where Campbell is like, what do you like? I like football. What else? I like thinking about football. Anything else? Sometimes I watch football. And he's just like, and you're like, all right, well, we have a type here in Detroit and you're it. Everybody doesn't have to be effervescent, but you do have to be all about ball. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that. I am absolutely okay. They get it. The players get it. The coaches get it. They walk in the door. They all seem to be, interestingly, they all seem to fit together. They all seem to fit the mold, and it started on day one. And I think I think like in the off season, there's a good period of time. I think that a lot of our media could maybe take a step back and kind of think about, recast their thoughts about what the Lions are doing, the front office is doing, how they're operating, and kind of maybe just take a look at it. Who knows? Maybe they are right. Maybe they are right. So
Well, and I think more than that, it's just thinking about what you are. In my years at ESPN, whether it was covering the Lions or covering the Huskers or covering the Seahawks, I understood that, like, I'm just an extension of the fan conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Fans have things they want to know. I'm useless otherwise. A sports journalist is useless if there's no fan extension.
Yep.
Otherwise, what are you doing? You're writing articles nobody reads. You're hosting radio shows nobody listens to. You're having a conversation nobody cares about. And just try to get into that headspace that you have the access that the 80,000 lunatics want. They want to ask questions. They want to get to know these guys. And too often, I think that gets missed because the journalists involved want to be the story or be a part of the story or be in the story somehow.
Yeah.
It's Zen in the art of motorcycle maintenance. Get off the damn motorcycle and get in a car.
Yeah. That's a whole lot of it, is being part of the story anymore. And it's it is what it is. There's a couple guys, we talk about him, Justin Rogers, love what he does. He's a guy that is not, to say his writing is emotionless is does not give him the credit he deserves, because he writes very, very compelling content. But the fact that he's a just the facts ma'am kind of guy and reports the content,
right.
If even emotional, compelling kind of content, he is presenting you with information and allowing you to come up with your own conclusions. If he doesn't get to write, none of them get to really write their own headlines, but if he writes it, he's not going to tell his headline isn't going to end, and here's why you should think that way. He would never ever write anything like that. And there's something to be said for that kind of quality. And I mean, the media room is the Tom Kowalski room. It's named that way. It's named after a guy that I think everybody says is a legend in the space in reporting for the Detroit Lions. And I have a feeling that he
was the best.
Wouldn't maybe want his name on there today, or would be unhappy with how his namesake is being leveraged.
Yeah, no, I learned so much in the 2 years I got to work with him. Because when the two training camps when I was in Allen Park, when Stafford was just getting started, I was a new face, and Kowalski knew absolutely everybody. He knew everybody that was on the sideline, knew why they were there, knew who they were working for, had a genuine disinterest in the national guys because they knew they were just going to drive by and, try to put together a quick hit piece and move on. And he came over to me that very first day and he's like, "Who the hell are you?" And I told him, I'm first time radio station, Grand Rapids, Michigan, blah, 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 blah. He's like, "Huh, you Grand Rapids guys don't usually come out to training camp." I'm like, "Yeah, well, they asked me if I wanted to, and I want to." And then I spent a ton of time with him. He showed me bars where the players go after practices. I got mistaken for Zach Follett. That was funny. While I was having lunch with Tom, somebody comes up, he's like, "Are you Zach Follett?" I'm like, "Practice is going on right now. I can't be having beers at lunch. What are you talking about?" And then the funny thing was, I'm like, "No, I'm not." And the guy turned around because Tom was laughing, and the guy turned around and he was like, "Oh my God, you're Tom Kowalski." Like, he thought I was Zach Follett, and he was kind of like, backup linebacker. But then he saw Tom, and he lit up. He's like, "Oh my God, it's Killer Kowalski." So yeah, neat stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Dude.
All right, well,
legend.
Lions rookies, Laporta's looking good. It looks like a top pick. Look, it's so early to kind of take these impressions. These are all just first impressions, but I'm still pretty entrenched in that camp that I think the Laporta and Gibbs duo is a lot higher value than the Bijan by himself piece. It's just, and we'll have to see where things go. I think one of the things is over time it's going to really be able to play itself out, because Bijan is a prototypical running back, and that he's going to likely perform better than running backs across the league. Probably be one of the greats. He very well could be. Has all the capabilities to be one of the greats, but the longevity is not going to be, I don't think, what you get out of Gibbs, just because of the way they play the game and how they're going to be used. And I think that value, there's, you talk about players, what's the number one ability for any player? Availability, right? And you may well have a solution at running back for a very, very long time. And when you pair him up with Montgomery, you still have that prototypical running back with a high talent level to run that ball.
And I know Risden wrote about this today. Don't sleep on Ibrahim. Don't sleep on Mo Ibrahim.
Yeah.
Along with hating myself enough to watch some Hawkeye games in the college football season, I also watched some Minnesota games. And if he can stay healthy, he is that hammer between the tackles, get it done. We need 3 yards, he'll get you 4. You need 10 yards, he's going to get you 4. He can be that guy. For my money, no offense, Craig Reynolds, I think he's your RB3 if he's healthy.
Yeah, I think you're fair. I think it's a fair point.
And a good one.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the next piece. There's a mentality in town. Seatbelt gang. We saw the pictures come out, what was it, yesterday? No, it was Monday, from workouts. Yeah. And we saw Hutch, we saw Jerry donning their Seatbelt gang gear. I'll just tell you guys, the whole defense requested the gear, sent a truckload of shirts out there. There's something going on. And whether it's just wearing the gear, which you can get at seatbeltgang.com, by the way. And if you saw Jerry's tweet about it, that's what he does.
Get it there and only there.
That's how he supports charity.
That's it.
It's not somebody who stole a design and turned it into, personal money. Jerry's doing something. I mean, here's a guy. He's a story, right? Ground up, fought his way to where he's at. And he's in Detroit. And he's doing his best to help out where he's at now. The people that brought him into the league. So you go buy somewhere else. Yeah, you can do that. But you buy it from seatbeltgang.com. You're doing the right thing. It's frustrating. You know how I get about it, right? I mean, someone stole. We did the design, partnered with him for his merch, get it out there for charity, just like St. Jude, right? We do that, $100,000 raise. People everywhere, every time it seems we do something for charity, somebody takes the idea, whether it's the intellectual property or the execution, and just Xeroxes it and makes a bad copy. It's maddening to be the people that do the work and the innovation, and have people just copy it. It's nuts. So seatbeltgang.com. Anyway, this mentality of the Seatbelt Gang. The idea is it's beyond just shirts. It's beyond Jerry's move after making Aaron Rodgers look like a fool. It is a mentality. It's a lockdown kind of idea. And I think what we're seeing is a defense that knows that they had to improve year over year. There's a defense that had some gaps, that's had some gaps filled with some really good players. Campbell's actually a really good addition to this defense. He brings a much, much needed man in the middle that can do a whole lot. But I think this is, the secondary, what they've done with the players there, adding Broderick Martin, Aleem, how he's looking leaning out this year. I mean, Hutch in his second year, folks that didn't like what I talked about with that little bit of baby fat, go look at him now and compare it to last year's pictures, just like I told you to do. My man has a year of NFL strength and conditioning under his belt, and he looks the part. Yeah. He absolutely looks the part now. But there's a mentality. And I think, especially in camp, between the offense and the defense, where you want to be the better of the two sides of the ball. This is your chance, because your opponent is your teammates on the other side of the ball. And the defense knows they have a step up this year. And I'm getting a sense from what I'm hearing and who I'm talking to that this defense is embracing that lockdown mentality. They're embracing the idea that they are going to improve more than the offense year over year. They're trying to establish themselves in that locker room as the premier side of the ball. And it's like I said, it's more than the t-shirts. It's a mentality. And it seems like they're all buying in. And it's an extension of that Dan Campbell piece. Michael, what do you think? From what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what do you think? Is that the way for these guys to go? Is that the kind of mentality they want to take on? Or is there a different kind of role I mean, you had Legion of Boom kind of thinking. I'm trying to contextualize it with the way some of these other defenses have thought, some of the real successful groups have thought as a group over the years.
Well, I mean, think about the bona fides of the guys that you're talking about. Last year, you got Jacobs coming back off injury. Tracy gets hurt early. Akuda, his mind space was a mystery. Now you've got Mosley coming off the injury. You've got Sutton, who knows his bona fides are established. He's got pelts on the wall. He has no questions about who he is. You have Gardner Johnson, who is going to give Jacobs a run for his money in the attitude department. You've got Branch, who we just talked about, who comes in looking the part of someone who takes this very, very seriously. You've got Campbell now in the middle. Aiden is a star. Houston can take that next step. Aleem, once it, please, tiny baby Jesus, if he's just the 3 tech, can kind of do the things that he's capable of doing. You've got a completely different. You've got completely different ingredients. You're cooking something different this year with these players, and it starts with the experience and the confidence of that secondary. And the only story I could tell you, you mentioned the Legion of Boom. There was a day some years ago, I want to say it was 2014. I was at practice during training camp. A fight broke out, and some soon to be cut 17th string wide receiver took a swing at Richard Sherman, and the whole it was a team wide brawl, and it took 20 minutes to get it broken up. And Pete Carroll was furious, and we were still sitting at the table, and now the field is empty. We were supposed to be there all afternoon. Pete Carroll makes everybody go inside. He puts the entire team on timeout. And so we're sitting there looking at an empty field going, huh. And out of nowhere comes Earl Thomas screaming at the top of his lungs. He's alone. He's the only one on the field. And he comes in and slams the table and into a live microphone. You will tell everybody defense won today. You tell them. You tell them we won today. He hit the table again and all the mics fell over. And then he went out and I'm like, well, that was Earl Thomas. So I don't know what we're doing for the rest of the day, but defense won. And so, that kind of attitude, if you've got a few of those guys in the back seven, in that secondary specifically, which lacked confidence and lacked an identity and lacked cohesion and lacked production, all of those things are kind of intermingled.
Mm-hmm.
If they come out and good Lord, they don't have time to wait because they're going to be going up against Patrick Mahomes in week 1. If they come out and perform, then look out, because Tracy's coming back, because Jerry won't shut up, because Gardner Johnson's already been on the NFL Network promising to talk junk, because Mosley and Sutton know what they're doing, because Branch is bringing all that Alabama confidence. I mean, it's just on and on and on down the line. They're not going to be at a shortage for fuel, I don't think.
Let's talk really quick about that Kansas City game, because you and I, we were talking about some other things, and we decided to have some fun talking football. And you had made a great point about the game in Kansas City, that first game. And I think, if you don't mind, just share that again, because it was so smart, so right on. And I had,
you're going to ask me to remember. What
okay.
Did I say? If it was really smart, you're going to have to jumpstart it.
My complimentary point was they have nothing to lose in that game in Kansas City. If they lose, everyone expected them to lose, right? And it was how Campbell set things up, and how he set this up in the media, and how he was looking at it. And my counterpoint was, like I said, that it was all about, they don't have anything to lose because they're expected so much to lose. If they win, they come out strong, and it's great. If they lose, well, they're expected to. It's week 1. You can make a million excuses. They won't. Dan Campbell won't. The Lions won't. Nobody on that team will make excuses for it. But you can guarantee that week 2 they come back and they make up for that. And they then, when they meet at the end of the season in February, they can meet again and relive that moment and maybe turn the tide on that. So,
well, yeah, and I think this goes back to that Dory-like attention span that we tend to have as fans, and especially as a media, where we just kind of go around the fishbowl once and go, hey, look, a castle, and then do another hey, it's a castle. We forget, everything about that Kansas City game, the prime time, the impossible destination. You can't win in Kansas City. You can't win at Arrowhead. You can't beat Andy Reid. You can't do all the things. Dan Campbell's going to be able to look these guys in the eye throughout training camp and tell them they've already won this game. They won it in week 17 against Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers in the winter when you can't beat them. And then the Seahawks lost and they had nothing to play for and they should fold their tents up and they whooped the Packers' ass anyway. This is all of the ingredients are there. It's the same Hall of Fame, first ballot quarterback, all of the accolades, the primetime, the national audience. Nobody believes it. He can tell them with a straight face, we all know how to win this game because we just did it to end the season. It's the exact same script. And of course, this is something that everybody's listening to. Well, they can't go to Kansas City. Man, I listened to the same BS leading up to the game at Lambeau.
Yep.
And I had to deal with one of the guys that I was so happy to find this out, by the way. This is me being petty.
I'm
there
there.
were some people in
from
Seattle.
Pettyville. I'm from Petty
Well,
Junction,
there were some people in Seattle saying that it should have been against the rules for the Seahawks to play before the Lions. They wanted those games played simultaneously because anything else created an unfair advantage because if the Lions knew that they couldn't get in the playoffs, they'd roll over and play dead for Green Bay. And I was screaming at the top of my lungs. I'm like, anybody that tells you that isn't worth listening to. And it turns out that my least favorite person in Seattle was the one saying that. So I didn't know that at the time. But it made me very happy to find out like, oh, you mean this guy? I'm like, oh, yeah, of course. And that's, this going back to your point, the same corollary, there's nothing to lose, right? It's the same thing in Green Bay. Well, Seattle won. There's no reason to lose. Doesn't make any difference. All you're going to do is lose draft position, blah, 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 blah. Dan Campbell only knows one way.
Yep.
He's going through.
Yeah.
He's going through. He's already done it. And he gets to tell everybody he's done it. This is where that success from last year bleeds over because now it's not theory. Now it's not a hypothesis. Now it's not rah-rah. It's like, look, you saw it. We did it.
You did it.
Most of the people in that room. Yeah.
You did it. Don't even get your doubt hats
again.
on. Yeah. Just go do it. That's what champions do. You go do what you know you can do, and you've already done it. That's the beauty of this game. And that's where I think a lot of folks that report, and that's why it was such a smart point, Michael. That's why a lot of folks are underselling us because they don't know. They still don't know who Dan Campbell is and who this team is. And they tell us. Brad Holmes tells us. They keep telling us to our face exactly what they are and what they're doing. And people just don't want to listen. Don't want to listen to what they're being told. It's crazy to me.
True story. So, yeah, your seatbelt gang mentality, send it to Missouri.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And boy, if that defense makes Patrick Mahomes look bad, that bandwagon's going to get real big and people are going to be getting feet amputated from all the Kool-Aid they're drinking. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, a lot of type 2 diabetes flying around.
Hey, Loretto, thank you, man, for the super chat. I said the same thing about Philly week 1, and it was scary for Philly. Yeah, there you go. All right, let's get to this. This is a good one. You brought this up, and I want you to try to expound on it a little. Well, I know you can. I don't want you to try. I want you to expound upon this for us. Where the Lions are in the rebuild process. We've got we take temperature, take measurements along the way. We know year 1, that Minnesota game they finally won. Amon-Ra and the goal line, the touchdown that was heard around the world for this Lions team, right? That was absolutely the one. And then the growth and the progress and the trajectory since then. But where are we? Because until you take that Lombardi home, the rebuild isn't done, right? You're never done. So where are we on this in this process, Michael? What do we got going on?
Well, I think the thing that brought it up is there are a couple of people that I listen to, shows I listen to, who I think are reasonably smart. They're not plugged into every team. They've got their guys, but their analysis of the Lions draft is, well, these guys think they're ready. That's what the draft told them, is that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell think they're ready. And they were both astounded. They're like, how could they think they're ready? And that's when it occurred to me. I'm like, well, what does ready mean? What does ready mean? Because if the guy, who is it, Travis Fulham at ESPN, he set the over-under at 9.5, said he's not on the bandwagon. He took 8 wins. I'm looking at the roster. Like, you can make a case that the schedule is going to be a little bit tougher. but I can never buy strength of schedule because every year at this time we're talking about who's going to be good, and then every year in November we're like, well, they turned out to be ass, so that game doesn't really matter anymore. And this team that was supposed to suck ended up being really good, and so your strength of schedule can flip. Your strength of schedule is always going to be really, really strong when you're the terrible team.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When you're the 3-14 team, your strength of schedule is always strong because you suck. So that argument kind of messes with me a little bit, but you can't look at this roster and think they're taking a step back. You can't look at the division without Aaron Rodgers and think they're taking a step back. You can be high as you want on Justin Fields, but Chicago's still got things to do. I don't know anybody that believes Minnesota is going to win any more 0.3 point games like they did last year, like 11 times, where they win by fractions.
That's a tough one to live by, man.
At 13, what was it, 13 wins and a negative point differential? I mean, numerically, that should be impossible.
Yeah.
That's the Chargers, the year they had the number one offense and the number one defense, and they went 8-8. I don't even know how that one hurts my brain. So I don't know how you look at the overall situation with all of these teams and think they're taking a step back.
Yeah.
And so it brought it to mind because I think you and I think, okay, it's go time. You might not be the Super Bowl champion, but you need to be a problem. This is the year you become a problem. This is the year the whole team becomes James Houston.
Yeah.
And then you just stay there. Then you're Baltimore, and you're a problem. Every year that people see the Ravens on the schedule, they're like, these guys. I go back. There was a guy on the East Coast said it after the Philadelphia game against Detroit. He said the overwhelming thought in the locker room after that win for Philly was, that sucked. Like, that was not fun. Yeah. We do not like playing those guys. And that was the first game of the year in a game they won.
Mm-hmm.
And that was his impression, was the overall feeling in the locker room was like, that sucked. Those guys just, they don't stop, And if you do that now with talent, and you do it with confidence, and you do it with some more experience, I don't know how you can't think that they're ready to take that next step. But there are plenty of people out there in the national media realm that don't.
Yeah, no. And that's that. I think that's their mistake. I think also the whole concept, they think they're ready. This is that kind of that arrogance, that misplaced arrogance that really, I believe, should have been tamped hard when you look at the quality and the success rate on these mock drafts that came out this year. The NFL does not believe or agree with the 99.9% of the people doing mock drafts, right? I mean, they missed by 10 miles. How are they able to evaluate talent on the teams themselves then, on who's ready and who's not? Now, if I look at the Detroit Lions, I don't know that their moves say, I'm ready, I'm there. I don't think any team ever, like Bill Belichick, I'll just go back to the dynasty that was the Patriots. I don't think he ever said the team's ready. It was always evolving. He won with a quarterback and two different teams, right? He won it all that way because they weren't ready to keep going. They're always working. So the idea, they think they're ready, that's a little bit condescending. And I think the Lions, the players will take issue with that. I think the coaching staff will take issue with that. I think you see it, Aaron Glenn wearing the salty shirt, right? I mean, he's like, oh no, we're ready. We know we're ready, right? But I think from a talent perspective, you're always building. I think they know. I think this is a Detroit Lions team that will absolutely make the playoffs this year, that has an absolute opportunity to win one, maybe more games. They could go all the way, depending on how a lot of things break. There's a lot of things that have to happen to see that kind of success, but this is a team that could do it. This is the team finally that has the talent and the coaching and the playmakers that can do something like that if the things go the right way. And that's the first step, is to be in a position where if things go the right way, you can do it. The next step then is to start to get yourself, force yourself to be in that position to where things will be ready and get you there to be able to do it. So we're in a funny spot.
I think for me, the next step for Dan Campbell is to build the expectation.
Yep.
Like the expectation. You can't, all the platitudes about like, every year's a championship opportunity. And like I spent a couple of years in Seattle. I heard all of the Pete Carroll always compete isms, and I was there for Russ Go Hawks, all the stuff, all the sloganeering, right? And I'm allergic to it. I'm a Gen Xer. I'm jaded by, nature. But that's the next step, is to come in and go, yeah, obviously we're going to go to the playoffs, and then to do the work to go to the playoffs, because that's where teams fall apart. Their expectation can't be the same as arrogance.
Mhm.
It can't be the same as being aloof. You still got to earn it, but you've got to expect to earn it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
100%.
We expect to do the work. We've got the bodies in here. We know how to do it. Now we have to execute.
And then there's the other side of that equation. Oh, they think they're ready. That's a mindset like the Rams had. We're ready. We're going all in. That's not the Holmes approach. This is a sustained quality approach that you see from Brad Holmes. These 1-year deals are absolute dead giveaways that we're building a sustained quality. Sounds contrarian. Yeah, right. A 1-year deal, that's just all in. That's not we're in it for the long haul. Oh, no. Compare our cap to the guy who was in it for the long haul, and Bob Quinn or Martin Mayhew, or down the line, right? I mean, this is a guy who's building the team for the long haul, managing the cap, managing the talent, and understanding what he has to face with contracts coming up. This is a team that is very, very potentially ready, but it's not a just ready now. This is a ongoing ready state. That's what they're building. Yeah, that's what they're building in Allen Park.
Pouring foundations.
Yep,
for sure.
You pour enough foundation, next thing you know, you're on the 100th floor. All right, let's see. We'll keep going. Want to re-hit this for folks who weren't here at the very beginning. Training camp party on August 5th. Tickets go on sale this weekend. Uptown Grill. We always have great guests. Jerry Jacobs was there last year. Dan Miller, Justin Rogers. Always have great guests, great stuff. Make sure you join us. Get your tickets this weekend. There's dinner, there's soft drinks, all part of the ticket. That's what the ticket pays for. And like last year, Jerry stayed, met with everybody, shook hands, took pictures, signed stuff. It was a fantastic time. We'll do something very similar this year. I guarantee it. You'll have a great time. Tickets on sale this weekend. Training camp party, August 5th, Uptown Grill. It's a Saturday, and we'll have fun. All right, let's get into it. There's something going on. It's like having a rock in my shoe. Every time I look around, right? I've been working a lot lately. There's a lot of stuff going on, and every time I look, I hear this stuff about trades and the silliest of trades, and I feel like people have just thrown away the whole idea of understanding negotiating or what's involved or what it means or how to do it. Mr. Gray, can you start talking about Quinn and Williams? The insanity that's going on.
Let's first go back to the nature of the word rumor. All right. If someone somewhere with, I don't know, internet access makes up a hypothetical situation where the Lions could trade for Quinn and Williams, and then someone else, somewhere else with internet access says, well, did you hear the rumor? Not a rumor. That's just some shit somebody made up. This is just, we're just living in the world of make-believe.
Hold on, Michael. Okay, did you hear? I want to take both. There. I want to take both parts in one step. Did you hear that Matthew Stafford's coming back to back up Jared Goff? It's the rumor.
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't he?
I expect
wanted to end his career in Detroit, right? We're gonna change Jameson Williams' number every season.
He's doing it to get his ring. See?
So yeah, and man, don't be surprised. I see that somewhere tomorrow. No, so let's start there. And then, and then the idea, and this goes right back to the other thing we were talking about. Where are they? Because in the Slack, the smartest Lions talk you can find.
Say it again.
Despite my presence, by the way, despite the fact that I'm always in there, I get too big a kick out of walking in, just lobbing a grenade, leaving, coming back in 45 minutes later to see what kind of damage has been done. At any rate, the number of people that believe in their hearts as fans, and again, educated fans, they trade for Quinn and Williams. They're a Super Bowl contender. Like right now, today. Going back to the where are they? And I find myself going, wait, they're a superstar defensive tackle away. That makes them closer than I thought. And then to see the trade value bantered around like, well, I'd give up 2 1s and a 3. hang on. Wait, what? You're giving away an entire draft class for a defensive tackle?
When you
Remember
even
when
if
trading for quarterbacks was a bad idea? Like, what are we doing? And then there's the, oh yeah, by the way, there's no way in hell the Jets are going to trade him.
No, it's off
Like,
the table.
I say this every year to anybody who will listen. When it comes time for holdouts, right? Every year there's a couple of players that are going to hold out. If your only leverage is to lose money that you otherwise would make, you don't have much leverage. Like in the world of negotiation, if the only thing you can do is drop a rock on your foot every day you're missing camp, that's not a great spot. You know, again, going back to my Seahawks experience, I was there for the Marshawn Lynch one. And there was a big countdown, and he's lost $60,000. He's lost $80,000. He didn't lose a dime. He came back. The team wrote him a check. All was well, and he played. You know, but even he, as hard-headed as he could be, like, you're just losing money. Like, that's your overhand right. It's not a great punch.
The other thing that people seem to ignore is, well, yeah, the Jets are out. This is a tank year for them. That's why they signed Aaron Rodgers, right?
Right.
Because they don't want to win. They don't need a defensive tackle where we would. That's the difference for us. But for them,
Yeah, right.
not at all. Won't make a difference for them in their tank year here.
Yeah,
hello.
Yeah. Their head coach Robert Saleh doesn't give a damn about defense anyway. He's an offensive guru. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's a defensive lunatic. He's not letting Quentin Williams go. There's no Tom LaWand in the Jets facility. They're not letting a superstar defensive tackle sign with the Dolphins. It's not happening. Okay. They're not going to lowball somebody and then come back at the last minute and go, oh no, he's leaving. Like, that's not going to happen.
And just not how it works.
No.
It's just not. So it's funny. It's like these things. Rumors are great. It's that time of year when people don't have something to talk about, and they have to grind something up and create a
mid-May, man.
Yeah. Oh God, we're not.
You're done with Mother's Day. Got to make some stuff up.
Wait till you hear what's coming out on Father's Day, bro. maybe I broke it too early. The Stafford news, right?
Right.
Oh my goodness, June, early July. The only real benefit there is most of the media is taking their vacation time, the NFL media, so it doesn't get a chance to get legs on some of these silliness. So,
well, and the nice part is the weather's nice enough to where you can distract yourself.
Yeah.
That's the true magic of football season, is that it eats up our time with good stuff when the weather sucks. So,
yep.
Of course, you're in Florida. You don't feel that pain.
No, it's terrible. I cover my patio furniture here in the next month, and I don't take the covers off till October. Ugh, it's horrible outside.
I shoveled snow here 3 weeks ago. I'd like to slap you through the screen if I could.
I'd like that too. All right, let's move on. Really quick, thank you, Flounder. Thank you very much. Welcome to Silly Season. Thank you for the super chat. I get my 3D galaxy float away. Interstellar. Let's. I want to give a shout out to an amazing group of people, and we've talked about them before. They just are so good at their job. The Lions social media team, their media team in general, they just put out such great quality content and are so on top of it and are so talented. And what makes the people who are in front of the camera, and I'm not saying this in a way to diminish the people in front of the camera, so please don't take this the wrong way, anybody. But what makes them so good is the people behind the camera doing all the work, the graphics and the production, all that stuff. They're top shelf. And as we know, a couple people, Sandman's one of them, a couple other people know folks who work at other teams and with other social media teams in the NFL. And those teams are all in awe of what the Detroit Lions team does. So huge props to them for the Inside the Den episodes, the access they give to the players, just the great work they do. I want to talk about that schedule release because it was fantastic. And I want to give them a little bit of love because there's one thing It's always about us. Like as soon as I'm done talking about me, Michael, I'll stop and I'll let you talk about me. But I think the the thing that they did, like in the very, very beginning, this is something, and there may be no connection, but I have to feel there is because they know what's going on out in the world. Brad Holmes made a comment, an AI comment. I got to say that the correct way, and it was based on something that we've really been the only people to keep alive from Hard Knocks, and it was one of the most important things I think to come out of it, and it was first, it was Coach Campbell talking about
these nuts,
and then we had the AI put there, and Holmes said, "Oh wait, we could say anything. We could say
these nuts
again." That's right, sure could. It was awesome. I mean, we've been pounding the table for that one for D's nuts, and they kind of did an homage to that right away. I don't know, man. I love it. Thanks to the social media team. They did a little bit of Easter eggs throughout for different things for folks, and I like to think that one was for us because frankly
these nuts,
it's ours. And we'll own it forever. So thank you, Coach Campbell. Thank you, Lions social media team. You guys are spectacular at what you bring. And I mean, as a fan, you talk about they're really taking the place of what a lot of the media should have been doing in connecting us to the team and its people.
Yeah, and there's a couple of things they do, specifically the hallway cam thing, where there's a placard and it tells them like, "Hey, wish your mom a happy Mother's Day," or whatever the question is. What athlete, if you could switch with any athlete, who would you be? Turns out everybody wants to be LeBron. So those kinds of things are really, really cool. The one thing I will say, and I don't want to speak out of both sides of my mouth, one thing I will defend the local guys on is they have to be there when the news is bad.
Yeah.
The social media team, it's always a good day to be on the social media team. you find a way. You can turn that frown upside down a million ways because you don't ever have to ask the coach the bad question. You don't have to be the one to ask Dan Campbell for the 17th time whether or not he'd like that decision in Minnesota back. P.S. Spoiler alert, he would. He said he would. He said it keeps his appetite. Stop asking that damn question. It's like he answered you, and then he answered you again, and then he told you he answered you. But yeah, the social media team gets an opportunity again to be that conduit. You don't need to know anybody's DVOA. I don't need anybody that's going to report to me yards per carry. I have that. It's right here on my phone. And so getting the human aspect of that and getting to see those guys react in real time. The Inside the Den series, the video production on that is as good as Hard Knocks.
Yeah,
I mean it's as good. A lot fewer F-bombs. But
and their ability to evoke emotion, because that's one of the things that I love about video and creating video is, and I learned that. I mean, I did it years ago for my parents' anniversary. I put a video together for a surprise party we did. Wasn't a dry eye in the house. It was this whole "this is your life" kind of a thing, right? And I really understood the power of video, and I say this not in an evil, Dr. Evil way, but your ability to manipulate folks' emotions and feelings through that medium. And the social media team does such a great job when they tell some of these player stories when they go back home, and in Inside the Den, the sense of that you feel from some of these players. They do a great job of helping you have feelings you didn't know you were going to have when you hit the play button on that video. It's just absolutely compelling. They're so talented at what they do. It's incredible. And I know there's some people saying, well, it's a lot easier when you have a winning team, but they were there and they were doing it great when it was a losing team. And I'll say, like, what, on August, we're about a month away. We'll be starting our 9th year. We've been doing this for 8 years. We've been through some bad years, a series of so many bad post-game shows after losses, right? It's a slog to make it through when things are bad. It's social media team maybe has it a little bit easier, of course, than the guys in the media. But they were there at good times and bad. They're there and they're selling the team. I mean, that's their job. But boy, they're doing a great job polishing up something that's looking pretty good already.
Yeah, and they put the other thing that they do, I think, really, really well, and this is reflective throughout everything going on with the team. They illustrate to you how comprehensive everything is, from Sheila on down to Brad, on down to Dan, on down to the team. all the way through that organization, you get a sense for that cohesion and the fact that they are all on the same page and cut from the same cloth, and insert your favorite cliche here, but it's real. They're actually doing it. That's not a joke. So that's something I think they present really, really well too.
Yeah. Dandy's nuts. Lions have the best, most talented roster ever. It's their time. And then Duncan D's nuts. I played that a couple times. He's like Beetlejuice. You play that 3 times and he shows up. It's the all right. Oh man, this is good. This is good. All right, let's see. Really quick, for all the folks watching right now, we do this once a show. We ask you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You're here, you're watching, it's free. It just takes a second. We're not going away when you do it. It doesn't interrupt the show or anything, but it helps other people find us, helps us out, helps us do the honest thing in media that we continue to do, helps us kick off our 9th year of coverage, and even better, bigger than before. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe. We appreciate all you folks when you do that. It does mean a great deal to us and helps us out a lot. All the algorithm stuff. So I'm not going to yell at you.
If you don't do it, Chris kicks a puppy. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah. It's my neighbor's puppy, though, so I don't have to deal with it. Okay.
That's awful.
I know.
That's awful. I mean, it's not a cat.
I would never.
I could get behind it then.
Any kind of animal, particularly a pet. Okay, I have to put that out there. Oh man. Okay, here we go. Let's get into this. We've got another topic. It is the perceived value versus relative value. What the hell are you talking? It's the Lions' approach versus other teams. And I'm going to
back in engineering school.
Yeah,
this is apparently a math class.
I'm glad you didn't throw away your slide rule there, Grandpa. All right.
Theoretical physics. Do I need my TI 85?
This is more economics, comparative advantage type of thing, and trades for value. It started out. I was thinking about this in a meeting. That's how excited work was today. The GMs establish themselves over time, and they establish confidence over time. Some come in with it, some earn it, but either way, they wind up with confidence, whether well-deserved or not, and it affects their thinking. Their thinking evolves as they take the role as a GM on a team. Brad Holmes has now, he knew he had value. He believed in himself when he came to the Lions. He's now got a couple drafts under his belt. He's got a system in place now. He truly believes he has what it takes to get what he wants, and he understands that what he wants is the right thing for this Detroit Lions team. Okay. He is certain that he has the right formula. His confidence is up. For him, okay, and this is all other things being equal. So let's think of this in comparatively and not like a one-to-one direct, comparison. But he believes his draft picks are higher than the formula value for the value of a known player. Because he believes one player for those 2 draft picks, he'll turn around more value out of that. Whereas many teams, and I would say Minnesota is one of them, based on the Hockenson trade last year. Holmes knew what he had in Hockenson. He knew he wasn't really buying into it. He wasn't giving it his all. He wasn't just in fully. Brad knew I can get more value out of draft picks than I'm going to get out of Hockenson. I know he's got a contract coming up. I can do the equation. That's what I'm going to do. I believe in what I'm going to pick. Where Minnesota, it's not even just a win now mentality. They believed that Hockenson player not only helped put them over the top, but gave them all the value they needed to win that. And they were willing to give up draft picks because they value them and believe in themselves less. They won't say it outwardly, but believe in their ability to hit on those draft picks and believe there's less value in those draft picks than there was in the player. Now, of course, you engineer a trade based on mutually agreed upon value and that kind of thing. But this perceived value of a GM has on one piece or the other and where they are and they're building their team versus the value of the player, I think is interesting. And I think it gives somebody like Brad Holmes a heck of a lot more freedom in building out his team. Like Honey Badger don't give a shit, right? He's trading Hockenson. He's just doing it and taking the picks. He knows I'm not paying him, so I've saved myself money. He knows I'm going to hit on those picks. I'm going to get more value than I had with Hockenson. He knows that he's walking away better long-term, stronger long-term for the Detroit Lions. And you know, it's short term for Minnesota. They've got a whole lot of problems they've got to deal with. Walking defensive players still over the cap. Hawkinson, they're going to have to pay. And it was like, well, they will be better there than we would with these old draft picks, which we could use to get players that are cheaper and fix our cap problems. But no, we don't believe that we're going to be able to do that. It's interesting for me. So I just want to get your perception on how an approach would change for a GM based on their confidence. And I think Holmes's confidence is built upon success, but their confidence in what they can do with the value they receive in return.
Well, this is where the draft nerdery, the journo nerdery, kind of ends up chasing its own tail. In thinking about this, I read is it Arif Hassan or Arif? I don't want to mispronounce his name. I don't want to disrespect him.
We'll just go
I don't
Hassan.
know how to say his first. But he wrote a write up and ranked every offense for the upcoming season. In Detroit, do you know where? Did you read the article?
I didn't see this one. No.
If you had to guess, out of 32 teams, where do you think he'd rank Detroit's offense?
I have to say 32.
17.
Okay, that's fair.
17. They were 4. Now 17. Now here's the funny thing. This is where your argument and this thing with Brad comes together. He listed the 3 reasons the offense was unsustainable: explosive non-quarterback runs, yak dependency, and turnover luck. So Brad Holmes brings in Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, David Montgomery. Doesn't that sound like somebody who's increasing his reliance on yak dependency, non-quarterback explosive runs, turnover margin? When you look at, it's funny because sometimes you get the idea that the critics that want to suss out the most negative possible outcome for this team, their vision isn't that different than Brad Holmes at all. He sees the same problems Brad Holmes sees. And I know that because Brad Holmes fixed them. He fixed those problems.
Yeah.
He addressed those problems. You want yak dependency? Here's Sam Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs. Give them the ball in space and then meet them in the end zone to give them a high five when they're done running away from everybody. You know, you want explosive non-quarterback runs. Let's revamp the entire running back room. And one of those guys isn't really a running back. Going back to your original point, you know, I wanted to sit on this because Bijan is a running back. There's nothing wrong with that. First class. If they'd have drafted him, I'm not complaining. Not a bit. They have been so deliberate and so careful. And this is, again, where they tell you exactly what the hell they're doing. They won't call him a running back. They call him a weapon.
Right.
They keep calling him a weapon. Dan Campbell has been very deliberate about calling him a weapon. You don't think that Ben Johnson's in the lab right now, cooking up ways to line him up wide, line him up in the slot, line him up as in a 2-back set, line him up 22 personnel. Like, he's going to have him in every conceivable spot. And like the rest of Ben Johnson's offense, he can line him up in the same spot 5 times in a row and run 5 completely different looks. So, you know, I think that's where the rubber meets the road on some of this stuff. Is you see guys that can accurately diagnose the problem. What they fail to understand is that they might find agreement in Brad Holmes's office. He's just playing chess to your checkers, and he fixed it already. Fix the problem before it gets worse. You know, DeAndre Swift is good in, you know, yak yards. Great. Let's find somebody better. Let's find 2 people better. Let's find 3 people better. You know, going back to your, your point about Hawkinson, you were going to let him go. You weren't going to pay him. Get something. Get some more swings at the pinata. Go get some draft picks.
But I don't think he sees that as swings as the pinata. I mean, most people do, right? But I don't think Holmes sees draft picks as swings at the pinata. I think he believes those as in true value. He will get the value for those picks.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe relative value higher than other people would.
Well, and I don't mean that in a neutral sense, but, you know, go get something for a guy that you know has no future. Even if it's in the division, especially if it's in the division, because now you got to pay him, dummy. So
quick quote from the chat, Dr. Troy. Yes, we draft all players to cover for Goff's negative. I think in the last quarterback they said, "Oh, we surround our quarterback with an offense so he can perform." It's just different words for exactly what they did then too.
The Goff thing is interesting
Let me just get one more comment. Well, let's dive into golf a little bit because this is a great discussion. I know it's polarizing for a lot of people. Ryan Williams, he's a weapon who's going to run the ball out of the backfield, sometimes block or catch out of the backfield like a running back. Don't be surprised when he's split into the slot, when he's in all kinds of other positions as well, unlike a running back. All right, go ahead, Michael. Go ahead and hit your golf thing.
He was the leading receiver for Alabama. Like, I don't know what else you need to know. You know, they know a little bit about football down there in Tuscaloosa. He caught a lot of balls. The Goff thing is going to be, you know, this is where in that last video I did earlier in the week, you know there are a lot of people lined up for their "I told you so"s.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, the Pro Football Focus folks that didn't like the draft value and the opportunity cost and all the other calculus they want to do. And what they really are mad about, and they can't say it, is that I need to be better at guessing than the other guys who are trying to do the guessing because I need to make my money from guessing. And if I guess better, it doesn't matter if the team sucks. They're not invested in the least in the team's performance. They want their guesses to be better than someone else's guesses because guessing is how they make their money.
And just to put it, they take subjective data and chart it, and they have a methodology, that's fine. And
Right.
They turn subjective data into what they want to refer to as objective data. And there's a translation piece there that is not near perfect. And they've got a product to sell. Right. That's really what it comes down to. And so
100%.
Their guesses need to be better so they can say their data is better so they can sell their product. That's really the line of sight directly into what it's all about.
Well, and I can't even be mad about it. I mean, they're trying to make money.
Business models.
And I don't believe for a second they're being disingenuous. I think they probably want to do good work.
Yeah,
I think this
100%.
is something they take very, very seriously, but they're also personally invested in it. And this comes back to the conversation about the journos and writers and everything. When you start to become a part of the story, the Goff thing is the linchpin in everybody's argument about, limits on this offense. And I've been guilty of it too. I mean, I somebody can go back through my Twitter feed. It's all there. I don't delete the stuff. I said to start every game in 2021 that the only guy who wanted Jared Goff quarterbacking his team less than me was Sean McVay. I had a program to go out every Sunday. Like, I can't stand this guy. I don't like this.
Mm-hmm.
I like Matt Stafford a lot. I don't know what we're doing anymore. Then he comes out, and I think I learned a lesson. And again, this goes back to the cultural piece. What have you gotten him? One of the things that's gone almost completely unrecognized is that Brad Holmes knew that he had a guy that was going to take that kick to the taint for 17 weeks on a team that couldn't win and not go bad. He wasn't going to sell anybody out. He wasn't going to become a diva. He wasn't going to turn on anyone. And in the middle of a terrible year where his coach absolutely, just punked him, and then trades for Stafford. Then the Rams actually win the thing. I mean, his terrible, awful, really bad day just would not end for 17 weeks. And I think that's one of the things that I had to wrap my head around. It's like, all right, he went through that.
Mm-hmm.
And we know how Detroit fans are about the quarterback. People wanted, Pad Statford. That was a thing.
Yeah.
Suddenly he looks really good in Rams colors. Everybody, oh man, he's always been great. Like, really? Because I'm pretty sure you wanted him canned, 6 weeks ago.
Yep.
He went through all of that. Then last year got to shut everybody up with his play. And now, like the rest of this team, whether it's the secondary or the running back room or anything other than Jamison Williams, he gets to come out with every reason to exceed expectations from a year ago.
Yeah.
And, I doubt him at your own peril. I think I've come around to, like, all right, people tell this guy that he stinks and that he can't play and that he's no good and that he needs this and he needs that. And then he just goes out and wins games. So,
yep. Let's see.
Good on him.
There's a lot going on. Let's just talk about 6th in attempts last year, 6th in yards passed. Seems like you can throw the ball. 5th in passing touchdowns. Seems like you can throw the ball pretty good. 24th in interceptions with only 7. His deep ball was like, I don't have that number in front of me. I'm working from it. It's like 4th somewhere in the league. He was super high in throwing his deep ball. The guy had a great year. The guy had a great year last year.
Fifth in touchdowns. The context is important. Fifth in touchdowns in the same year that a running back set the franchise record for rushing touchdowns.
Great point. Great point.
That's not a statement that's not just a statement about Goff. That's a statement about the performance of this offense. So when I go back and I find somebody who's telling me that he expects them to be the 17th best offense in the league, I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah.
We got guys setting records through the air and on the ground. I'm not adding 2 and 2 and getting 17.
And you got Goff plays better in play action mode. Okay, cool. Let's have a play action offense. We're all set for it, aren't we? Like, gosh.
Again, who did they draft at 12?
Yeah, exactly.
You've got 2 running backs, a fake handoff to either one of them, and those linebackers are on the hook. So have a day, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah. Yeah. I think everything is set up for him to succeed. Now, you look at Matthew Stafford, how great he was. He could put a team on his back and carry them. He never won a playoff game for the Lions in all his years here. So he didn't quite carry the team, and I'm not dogging on Stafford here, right? But I'm just trying to give some fairness to the comparison. Evidently, Matthew Stafford couldn't win until he was surrounded by a team either, because once he got surrounded by good players, he went and he won. He won all kinds of playoff games.
I would take that one step further. I've always felt like that plane needs to go all the way up to 40,000 feet before you take a look. He needed to be in an organization that was run right.
Yes.
And he never was.
No.
Like I selfishly, I would have loved for Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell to show up a year sooner.
Yeah.
If only because that would have gotten Matt Patricia out of my life a year sooner. But if he would have been able to play for an organization run by Sheila Hamp and not Martha, and not William Clay, and not deal with all of the Tom Lawans of the world and all of that nonsense.
Yeah.
I think it's more than just the team around him, because the team around him is born of the organization. And that's the overriding point I take, with this offseason with Detroit, is the real value. The draft picks are the result of a culture. The coaches are selected as Dre Bly was hired as a result of a culture. Gardner Johnson gets signed as a free agent as a result of a culture and an agreement, and everybody being on the same page, pulling on the same rope in the same direction at the same time. Matt Stafford never played for an organization that was doing that until he went to LA, and then he won the whole damn thing.
Yeah, and let's be honest, LA wasn't doing that when Goff was there either. When Goff was doing poorly, LA was not doing that either. And that's I think. So here's the thing, right? And this is we talk about how, just in this show, we were talking about how the Lions and Brad Holmes is building a team for longevity, or not the flash in the pan, the longevity, but they're also building.
Do you mean to say longevity?
Longevity.
Is longevity? I don't think that's a word.
Longitude?
Like
no, longevity.
Prime meridian?
I think it's a word. I think it's a word. If not, it means the same as longevity.
You said that earlier. I was like, I'm going to have to Google that one.
I will. Either someone in the chat.
Somebody will hit us up.
Yeah, they'll get us. But so that's the kind of the x-axis, right? But the y-axis is the organization. That's the other thing they're building here, is from top to bottom, like you said, towing the line from Sheila all the way down. And when they talk about who's communicating, and you get questions back to this from where we started, right? It's a castle. Oh, is Broadwood making football decisions? Like a lack of understanding of what was being put together there was incredible. Top to bottom, left to right. They're building this team, this organization to support. Matthew Stafford would be doing wonderfully in this organization. I agree with you 100%, Michael. But we've got 100%. Jared Goff, and Jared Goff is going to do wonderfully in this organization. Are they building a team around him? Yeah, they are. Tom Brady, they built a second team around him to go win Super Bowls. Yeah. That's kind of what you do. You build your team around your quarterback, and if you don't, you tend to lose your job. Oh, BK, thank you. I coined a word. God damn it. Oh, wait, longevity is a word, but is the definition right? That's the next part.
No, longevity. I put it in my phone and it said, "Do you mean longevity?" I was like, "Yeah, I think I do."
God dang it. Okay, yeah. Longevity isn't or wasn't until 60 seconds ago. There we go. I own that.
See, and
TM.
look, I say this from years of doing sports radio. I had a co-host that used to say comfortability all the time. I'm like, you mean comfort? You mean comfort? Like, oh, you want to be comfortable, so you have great comfort with the situation? No, comfortability. I'm like, I think that's like three syllables too many. Like,
No, it's an ability to be comfortable. It's you've actually saved time. It's like the whole Michigan thing, and instead of saying "Did you eat?" Jeet, right? I mean, you got it right there. You got it done. Thanks. Longevity. Now I sound smart.
Never mind.
I added a whole extra.
Well, it turns out that I bring that up because it turns out that actually was a word, and I went off for like 2 minutes on the air, and then people started emailing me going, "Hey, idiot, you're wrong. Comfortability may not be commonly used, but it is a word." And like, oh, so I'm the jerk. All right, fair enough. So when I heard longevity, I was like, all right.
Riz in the chat. I take a week off and Chris makes up words. It's not the only time.
Well, you're not going to get that past him.
It's my job.
Freaking walking encyclopedia. No, here's the thing. Because this can't be lost, and it's something that I still think is super impressive. All the things you said about Goff are true. Yeah, they believe in him. He's rewarded that belief. They've continued to build around him, and they brought in Hendon Hooker.
Mm-hmm.
Because they weren't going to do the eggs and baskets thing and be so heavily leveraged in one direction with 2 years left on a quarterback's contract and a lot of questions about a salary and an extension and other things. And they weren't going to leave themselves with no other plan. Hendon Hooker's a viable player.
100%.
And he's a dude who, out of the box, you do the big unboxing that they do on YouTube that my kids watch. I don't know whether I'm gonna watch somebody else have fun stuff. I'm old. Anyway, so you do the unboxing on Hendon Hooker, and out of the box with packing peanuts all over the floor, he can do things right now today if his knee's healthy that Jared Goff will never be able to do.
Yeah,
with his legs.
Yeah, absolutely.
He brings you a dynamic to that offense that, I mean, whether he can throw, we'll see. If he can learn NFL offenses, we'll see. But they didn't sit on that as good as they feel about him.
100%.
That warmed my heart as a fan in a way. Like, okay, we're not going to do the blind spot thing. We're not going to double, triple, quadruple down on Joey Harrington. We're not going to do that. Even if you believe him, even if he's good, make sure the team is in good shape otherwise.
And that's the money play.
Buy the flood insurance.
Yeah, that's the money play, because everybody makes it an either or. Either you're all in on Goff and that's it, or you're all out on Goff and that's it. And the idea of bringing in a guy, Hooker's the perfect guy to bring in. He's the perfect guy because he's a threat to Goff, just not right now, right? And that's exactly what you need to get the very, very best out of Jared Goff this year. And now everything keeps rolling forward. And I mean, he's 4 years younger than Goff. You've got a decade of quarterback play between these two guys for sure.
Well, and I feel like, around September, every day, Hendon Hooker should just be in front of Goff like, soon, just like TikTok, let's go, so don't have a bad practice. And I think, the motivation there, if you thought your quarterback was going to rest on his laurels, if you thought he might come in lazy, if you thought he might not be motivated, light a fire under his ass with a guy that by November could make a case.
Yeah.
It made me happy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Made me happy.
Yeah, for sure. No, I same here. And that's the thing. Like, people paint me as like this massive Goff lover. I do like Goff, and I think they can win with him. I think he can take you all the way to the top with the Detroit Lions. I think he can with this organization, with how they build the organization. I think he can. I don't think you should sell the team for him solely. Like, I'm not against getting. Right. I'm against going out and throwing Anthony Richardson at 6. I don't know. Maybe I didn't like him at 6. I still didn't like him at 6. I think all you do is screw up your quarterback room if that's your play. I really do. I think you cause yourself a year or two of pain before you get any value out of that. And this team, they think they're ready now. according to the national media. They may be ready now, but they're not going to not be ready now, and they're not going to not be ready next year. Either way they go, the year after, they're going to be ready, and that's what I love about it. That's what this is. They didn't.
You know what they're building
a hole by drafting a.
Well,
player.
you know what they're building in. You know what they're building in. Longevity.
Yeah. Longevity. Don't use that's my word. I have a TM there. TM. I'm going to sue you. You t-shirt stealer. Okay. What do I think the per year number is for a Goff extension? I have to say, I couldn't care less what the per year number is. And people, it drives people a little bit nuts. But if I pick a number today, it's going to be meaningless when the cap changes. And then the year after, it's going to be meaningless when the cap changes. I'm feeling pretty good about 15% of cap to 16, maybe 16 and a half, depending how he does this year as far as what you spend for him going forward. That's really kind of where I'm at. I've kind of changed my thinking on cap and on spending, because people focus on that number. Agents love to scream the big number. That's not really the number, but it's really what's the percentage of the cap that you're going to spend on that position. And I've got this whole kind of mental construct I've been working out on, your offensive line, or is it off your left tackle and the rest of the offensive line, like that you're budgeting for? And then you can make little changes. If you save money because you've got a rookie contract, you can spend a little more maybe on your safety, right? You can make different changes. But I really believe it's a percentage of your cap to build out the team rather than what's the number right now, right? Because whatever the number is today, it's going to be cheaper every year that goes on. Matthew Stafford, I remember people screaming how much we paid him. And then he was basically free at the end. So what are you going to do?
Well, and the same thing with Goff's current contract, because when he came on board, I mean, everybody from Pat McAfee on down was talking about, like, you're going to pay this guy that much of your cap. I'm like, okay, first of all, you got to pay quarterback. Like, so you got to do that. Second of all, they weren't going to be good no matter who was paying what that first year. And then all of a sudden you get to this side of that contract, and these next 2 years are reasonable. Yeah. I mean, really, really reasonable. Like below Derek Carr and Jimmy Garoppolo type of reasonable. So yeah, I think anytime you see a contract, you got to get past the giant number they put on the billboard, the one that goes across Times Square, and then start drilling down on it and how it's structured.
Yeah. Really quick, and on, this is a good one. The thing is, you can dollar cost average Goff and Hooker's contracts. You're not paying $6.5 million to Chase Daniel anymore, right? I mean,
oh God, the employment miracle that is Chase Daniel.
So that works. I think there's some thought to that, and you have a lot of value in Hooker. But
you think in the offseason that Chase Daniel and Josh Rosen just go down to Boca somewhere and high five, like, hey man, we did it again. They're still giving us money.
Oh man, that's crazy. I got to give a quick yell out. Big game this year on the 15th of October in Tampa. We've already started talking about it. I think we're going to do a post game show live from the parking lot from the tailgate. We get a bunch of people hanging out.
How many people are down?
I've already seen like 15, 20 people coming down for the game. There's a lot of people that already live around the area. Tampa's a hopping spot for Lions stuff. You want to come? Come on down.
Do we all get to stay at your house?
One room's already taken. I don't want to have to open up the other wing unless I have to, so we can talk about that. But so yeah,
you have a full size couch. I can't sleep on a mini. I'm 6'2". So
we got you, brother. We got you. It'll be a good time. We're gonna have a great party. We'll talk about doing a show. We're putting some stuff together to have some fun down there. Ray J is a great place to see a game, even an away game. Tampa's a really cool spot because it is so many people from other places coming in. There's no fan abuse. It's just a fun time. Good people having fun. So think about it. If you want to travel and see an away game, I tell you, come down to Tampa. We'll all hang out. We'll drink. You can make funny faces in the background on a live show. We'll do some goofy stuff.
Every time you say Ray J, I think of Kim Kardashian. I can't help it. I'm like, what does that have to do with any? Oh, the state, dude. Raymond James, right?
Did SoFi? I'm talking about the Chargers game in LA too, Don. That's a good one. SoFi's a beautiful stadium. It is fantabulous. That's a real word too, Michael, just so you know. Great place. Also, I just got to give a quick yell out to seatbeltgang.com, the place to go. Jerry tweeted about it. That's the place where he takes the money, turns it around for charities in Detroit. His charity stuff. It's not somebody who stole the design and is trying to make a buck off of something that other people built. So check Jerry's tweet. Go to seatbeltgang.com if you like that stuff, the gear. You're going to see a lot of the defenders wearing that stuff. Keep your eyes open for Hank's Tanks. It's a little something. That's at DetroitLionsPodcast.com/store.
Did you send some 3Xs up to Allen Park too?
I will say that the offense wears a larger size than the defense on average and across the board.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Next show we'll go around the division on the results for the draft. We're going to do that this week, but Riz's gout is acting up, and he's got to take care of that. But with that, I think we're going to call it a show, Michael. And Riz, best of luck to your parents and your family, man. Hope
man.
Goes well, brother.
Mr. Risden, feel better soon.
Yeah. Even if she says no. That's terrible. That's horrible. I would never really endorse something like that. All right, remember, don't forget about us on Patreon, patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast, patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. It's where you can help the show, and you can get access to the Insider Slack chat, the best chat on the internet about the Lions and so many other things, home improvement, you name it. It's all great stuff. It's all there.
We were handing out investment advice in that joint last week.
Yeah. Personal improvement is probably the bottom of the list, but everything else, top shelf stuff. Great place to hang out. Great people. They're all good. It's worth every penny. And you get good
lovable
ideas.
Group of hammerheads in there for sure.
All right. Follow us on the Twitter machine at DET Lions Podcast and at the Michael Gray. Get those golden, beautiful locks on your feed every day.
Yeah. Jeff requested no hat, so you get the full experience here today.
The next tweet, I'll be there with no pants. It's beautiful. Come join us on Twitter. Give us a call via Skype, Detroit Lions Podcast, all one word, Detroit Lions Podcast, or on the Lions line, 248-782-8384, 248-RUB-YOU-FUG. This is it. This is the big test, Gray. This is where you have to know your Lions. Be sure to come to Detroit Lions Auto. I almost gave it away. Be sure to go to Detroit Lions Podcast. The longevity of that line has been shortened.
You stepped on the line. Normally, you're supposed to bury the lead. This time, you dug it up.
I was burying something else.
I'm not saying that because I will screw it up. I don't know the whole line. I just knew the
part that I gave away.
Verb, and you went with that already. So it's been done. We can cross that one off the list.
Oh, man. We should go to DetroitLionsPodcast.com, subscribe to the podcast. Why, Gray? Why would they do that?
Well, at this point, I'm sure we all want to know, and no one really does. Get there, do the thing. I can't remember Jeff's lines.
It's because we all get to come into your ear holes automatically, and
there it is.
Who wouldn't want that? I mean, oh God. Never mind. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to see you next time on the Detroit Lions Podcast. Remember, no pants, no toasters, no hot tubs, at least not together, and no problems because you're Detroit Lions and Reddit connection. Thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate you. We got more for you coming soon. Broderick Martin tomorrow and a lot more